group took Shorty out of the car, brought him down a hill behind Spawns, and stabbed him to death.
And this is one of the murders that Charles Manson was actually convicted of. They said that he killed him. And again, Charles Manson vehemently denies that he actually killed him. He just said, I was there. I didn't break any rules. Is it against the law to stand on a tract of land in your moccasins? And I did nothing.
So Shay's body wasn't found until December of 1977. And Grogan, he actually drew a map for police to Shorty's remains because there was a rumor going around that they had cut him into 9 different pieces.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of pieces.
9.
Yeah.
9.
So Manson, he said that he can't clear up any details about it without being a snitch himself. But he said that Bugliosi, caught up in his own helter-skelter hysteria, overlooked many participants, accessories, and conspirators. Someplace out there in that society he protects so well, he has left several killers to prowl the streets.
Right.
So Manson said that whoever murdered him, still out there. So after they got arrested, Charlie said, it was not hard at all to convince people to get the fuck out of there and go to the desert. The paranoia got even higher. He got strict. He pushed the family into just being combat ready at all times. He pushed for, quote, vigilance, secrecy, mobility, and contempt for anyone outside.
And honestly, Manson says that he felt a lot of guilt about this whole time period. About basically, it's what he said. He's always been searching for a home and for a family and for a sense of peace. And now the whole thing has gone wacky woo on him, and he doesn't know, he just doesn't know how to stop it. Yeah. He doesn't know how to stop it. The whole thing's been cycling out of his control for a long time, and he's a fucking moron. He's just no good at it. He's no good at being a cult leader. All these cult leaders, they don't realize how much work it is.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It never lasts.
Right.
So the sex, by the way, he said that it moved from free-flowing pleasure into aggressive lust. The music stopped altogether.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And as the weeks in the desert passed, a lot of the family just kind of drifted away, and they only moved around at night. And the locals, they noticed them. They noticed these fucking weird-ass hippies just skulking around all night long.
No, this thing has been waiting to get busted for so long.
I
can't even believe that they've lasted for as long as they have up until this point, because they're just a menace. They're just out all night smoking weed, doing drugs, probably screaming and laughing and playing music, and they just got surrounded by neighbors.
Yeah. And so the cops raided Baker Ranch. They finally figured it out. Raided Baker Ranch for auto theft and possession of firearms. But Charlie was away. And again, he was away. But the second raid that they did would be the last day Charlie Manson would breathe air as a free man. When the cops busted in on October 12th, 1969, 2 months after the murders, they found Charles Manson curled up in a small cabinet beneath the sink. In his haste to hide, a few strands of his hair made their way outside of the drawer, of which an officer noticed. And later, the arresting officer said that if it wasn't for the hair, he wouldn't have ever looked in the cabinet because he said it looked too small to hide in.
He's like Terry the Gnome. He's literally just I could just hide this acorn. It's shit! I forgot this is my fucking toilet acorn. Oh shit! Fuck.
Oh, poor Charlie. Wild hair did him in.
He also had a very special, it was a getaway spaghetti pot that he could also crawl into. So small and cute.
Yeah, tiny, adorable Charles Manson.
This is a much heavier episode than the other 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I just also want to remind everyone.
Yeah. The other 2 episodes was a lot of free love but yeah, this is when, much like the Manson family, this is when shit turns dark.
Right.
So
he got arrested because his hair was poking out there.
His hair was poking out, and how the LAPD finally put everything together was for months they had no leads whatsoever. They had no idea what was happening. But when the Manson family had been arrested in that raid earlier that month, they were so fucking overjoyed that they were being arrested for auto theft instead of murder that they all started singing. And naturally, they started singing what they were listening to most at that time, which was songs from the White Album.
And which is also just, it's still ridiculous. And in the same, so when they showed up, because they didn't realize that Helter Skelter was literally written all over the entire fucking camp that they were living in. It's so ridiculous. So what happened here? So they were sitting in jail. They think they're there for a traffic. They're being told that they're finally for a traffic violation. So they're fine. So the LaBianca team searched police records and came across the Hinman murder, right?
Yeah.
Because they figured out like someone had mentioned it at some point.
Yeah. And so what they did is they someone finally saw the similarities. At the very least saw that there was a gruesome murder in which somebody had written a message in blood on the walls. So they think, okay, we've got nothing else. Let's look into this. And they also were looking at the Helter Skelter angle of it because this is the LaBianca team. So they start cross-referencing people that had been arrested in that raid with a list of people who had been questioned in the Hinman murder. One of the people they questioned
It's like, okay, this guy is guilty for stealing a bunch of licorice from a candy store. Right? This guy is arrested for being too groovy at a stoplight. I think we got our chain of events here.
So the name they finally came up with, like Bobby Boussier's girlfriend, Kitty Lutzinger. And so Lutzinger, she knew nothing about the actual murders themselves, but through what she talked about, they followed up leads that led him to biker gangs who Manson had tried to hire as bodyguards, and Manson had alluded to the murders several times when they talked to the biker gang. At least he didn't actually say, listen, we killed a bunch of people and we think the Black Panthers are going to come down on us, so we're going to need to hire you. He didn't say, but he alluded to it enough where they got a hook in him.
Charles Manson's problem, which we're going to see later on too, is the fact that he wants to appear to be this hardened criminal.
Yeah.
He wants to appear to be this fucking evil kingpin. So of course he's going to throw around all this evil shit around a bunch of these bikers because he wants them to respect him. Because again, you've got this fucking gnome dude trying to get your confidence and be his bodyguard. You're going to want to brag a little bit.
Yeah. And so but what really did them in more than anything was Susan Atkins, Sadie, always known to have a big mouth. She started bragging to her cellmate that she was a part of the Tate and LaBianca murders, and that's when everything just came tumbling down. So on December 1st, arrest warrants were issued for Tex Watson, Patricia Krenwinkel, and Linda Kasabian. All three were quickly picked up. Physical evidence started rolling in. Fingerprints were found at the Tate residence because, amazingly enough, Charlie had, missed a couple when he went back for the cleanup job.
I don't know how. He's such a thorough guy. And they also took when they left the scene of the crime, they literally took off all the bloody clothes and the knife and just threw it out in a field.
Yeah, and they found
all of it.
Yeah, that got found real quick. And the Texas revolver, that was found by a 10-year-old kid. And so Sandra, working through her attorney, she sold a story called Two Nights of Murder on December 14th, 1969 for the Los Angeles Times.
And you're going to see a lot of this now where all of these people are quickly separating themselves from the crimes as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah.
And so she said, and then I love Charlie's response to this. It's like, this girl, who had perhaps taken more drugs, created more scenes, inflicted more stab wounds, possessed the most perverted fucking imagination, and desired more attention than anyone among our circle, told a story that projected me as love itself, magic music maker, a devil, a guru, Jesus, and a man who ordered her and others to kill. Shit. If there was any truth to what I was said of being capable of, I'd have been sitting in Hearst Castle with stereos in every room listening to my own platinum albums.
Which is a fucking great point.
He was not that charming. He was a little maniac and a piece of shit.
So by the time Charlie hit the courtroom on the first day in June 15th, 1970, the whole myth of Charles Manson, the monster, the mastermind, the man who took the man who could take your young child and, turn her into a murderer, that was established. Everyone knew that Charles Manson was a monster.
And that was the genius part of these defense attorneys. It was lawyers and publicists who figured out how to spin this whole fucking story. Charles Manson, again, is not innocent, but
no.
he's not the devil himself.
No. So the prosecution's main witness was Linda Kasabian, who flipped immediately on everyone because, of course, she did. She was only there for less than a month, and she was just the driver. So she flipped because she got immunity from the prosecution. So she was the star witness against everyone in this. And Manson, Atkins, and Krenwinkel, they'd all been charged with 7 counts of murder and 1 of conspiracy. Manson was, and God, I wish they would have let him do this. Oh, they originally allowed him to act on his own defense, but due to a submission of, quote, outlandish and nonsensical pretrial motions, the permission was withdrawn before the trial started. And denied.
I imagine him showing up in one of those like English barrister costumes and being like, all right, so I got my lawyer wig. Next thing I need is, all right, I need about 5 or 6 tubs of beer. I need literally bathtubs filled with beer. And then the next thing I'm definitely going to need is a rock to sit on, because I've kind of not been sitting on chairs for a while now. So if you could just get me like a sharp rock that I could put my little bony butt on, that'd be great.
So denied his right to represent himself, Manson showed up the first day of trial with an X on his forehead to represent that he was, quote, considered inadequate and incompetent to speak or defend for himself, and had X'd himself out of the establishment's world.
Oh, he's not inadequate. He could do it.
He really could have
done it.
if they would have given him the chance.
Would have been. He would have been better than Bundy, I bet.
Definitely more. I mean, he probably wouldn't have worn a Seattle Supersonic sweater at any point during his trial.
Well, tell the jury they're beacons of light.
Maybe if he had known what the Seattle Supersonics were,
right,
he would have had the jersey on, just because he's just like, what is basketball?
So by the second day of the trial, all of the other defendants all had an identical X, along with all of the family member protesters that were outside. Because remember, only 4 of the Manson family had been arrested. So there's still plenty of other girls and dudes out there still preaching Manson's word, but there were 3, and really in particular 2, Sandra Good and Squeaky Fromm, that really stood by him and really took it upon themselves to spread Charlie's words, because...
And Squeaky was fucking supportive of Charlie 10 years after.
Oh,
because
God.
she had nothing to do with the murders. This is what we talked about before. All the ones that didn't go to jail or weren't a part of the original murder scenes, they still loved the whole fucking free love thing. They loved what they were doing.
Oh yeah, because Charlie, that whole trip, as far as protesting and all that, they started that because of a bad jailhouse visit with Charlie, because he was pissed